ago. And now I realize that I am really in Paris, and I'm a woman, and I live alone for a long time. And it does not matter whether I am a male or a female, because the work concerns on the seriousness of it, and the taking of it as really a work for a lifetime.
Don't you find it surprising that you're a painter and then at the same time you will be so engrossed in philosophy?
Well, speaking of philosophy, is not philosophy life? Therefore, art may not be life, but life is art.
How do you mean by that? Living life is...
Life itself is art. Art may not be life, but life is art. And therefore, it is philosophy.
This project exposes the involvement in the bustling Parisian 50s to 70s art scene of Nena Sagil, a post-war pioneer of Philippine modernism in the visual arts. Despite a life spent in relative solitariness, she had surprisingly woven an occluded art history in her fleeting presence, resembling her reticence by hiding her portrait and documentation through online and physical interventions. The project urges visitors to navigate Sagil's timeline, actively participate in it, and contribute to constructing her profile. Delineating her dossier also proposes a new perspective on seclusion, not as a catalyst for exhaustion, but for creativity and personal maturity, in hopes of leaving a sense of optimism that we all presently need. The physical offering, situated in the unconventional spaces of the UP Vargas Museum, directs audiences to traverse inside the mind of Nena Sagil, through traces that heighten their sensitivity and consciousness enough to notice her evanescent presence. The project's online version, on the one hand, plays around the mechanism of Instagram by creating multiple accounts that serve as archives of Nena Sagil's records in art history. Users can navigate and form the chronology of her milestones abroad.
last prompt in relation to outer space could be a productive starting point for a discussion?
I think I'm not in a rush. I think these kinds of things take time, to percolate in our minds.
Ice breaking, like how about the weather, how many children you have, this kind of typical ice breaking moment.
The project is a curatorial experiment situated in a marginal digital space. It gathers visual artists, writers, researchers, and photographers from a variety of backgrounds to unpack the idea of dispute and universality of war. The participants' annotations are placed in Hypothesis, a browser extension that allows comments and replies in the form of text, image, audio, or video. This space serves as a permeable setting where people can listen to each other, lay down thoughts and opinions, and form ideas that are open to other people. This act of listening figuratively lifts fingers from both our ears and plays out polysymphonic truths. The factors of time and space that limit traditional formats of discourse are bypassed through this asynchronous approach. Contributes to leveling inequalities that are sharpened by this pandemic by taking out the requisite of travel and being live online at a specific time. Visualized as a continuous process that may be accessed as long as the webpage is live, the project aims to explore the potential of this format for becoming a generative tool for alternative knowledge.
This prototype exhibition builds on a careful examination of the life and works of Nana Sagil toward a curatorial imagining and gesture informed by the entwined histories and intimacies of various modernisms, the particular socio-material implications of her corpus and artistic mobility, and her discernible inflections upon the present, however oblique and dispersed. Out of every pore, a universe breaks gathers 7 contemporary Filipino artists born between 1963 and 1996, with curious relationships with figurative representation and realism, and a palpable kinship one way or another to Sagil's oeuvre and preoccupations. This task of further enciphering her modernity in the plural present imagination through the collaboration with these artists warrants the exploration of fraught questions involving the limits of figurativism in their respective disciplines. This exhibition also aims to work around the notion of the prototype as an agentive mode with an integrity of its own, and to compound the search as method curatorial scrutiny with the ludic economy of modernist abstraction as a potent mode of discovery and as a modality of itinerancy and emancipation. Out of Every Pore Universe Breaks also seeks to further understand Sagal's practice as a trajectory for recasting the ludic economy of modernist abstraction and wresting it from its conformism and yearnings that have been braced to regimes of developmentalist cosmopolitan modernity and the so-called New International Order, hopefully toward becoming a site and channel to polymorphously perverse and subversive registers for conceiving the feminine, the queered, and the translocal.
In moments of crisis, how do impulses propel us forward? When foresight is bleak, how does acting on impulse allow us to cope with the uncertainty of our conditions? Contrary to impulsivity, acting on impulse does not pertain to action lacking thought. Rather, it is deliberate and intentional, a form of pure movement and flow. In moments of urgency, a person acting on impulse operates on embodied skills built from past experiences. He or she is attentive to the quality of his or her actions and responsive to his or her changing situations. In a nutshell, the exhibition A Shot of Impulse revisits impulses and how they are tangled in the conception of care, collaboration, and collective action during the COVID-19 health crisis. A Shot of Impulse presents individual works from a photo project called Lockdown Diaries and excerpts from the accumulated conversations among its participating artists. In bringing together these materials, the show frames impulses as transitory, immersed in a relational nexus, polyvocal, participative, and multi-sided. Responsive of the disruptions and limitations imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic, A Shot of Impulse is a rehearsal exhibition. The curatorial gesture proposes that impulses are carried forward into a procession of synergistic actions, an itineration. A Shot of Impulse, thus, is an attempt to sketch a map of collaborative actions situated in moments of urgency and disruption, without foreclosing the possibility of failures nor productive encounters with emergent impulses.
During the lockdown period of 2020, an abundance of online content has captured the sentiments of netizens toward current events, particularly the prioritization of projects that undermine the seriousness of the pandemic. To even out a playing field brings together some of those artworks in a white cube for the very first time since the lockdown. This exhibition takes a look at practices that audiences are able to engage with by taking on an editorial function, which is either to narrate or opine, regardless of it being straight news such as editorial cartooning, digital illustration, or zines, or to entertain through satire or comics. The term engagement is not limited to metrics set by social media platforms such as number of views, likes, and shares. By being able to present works that audiences can mediate on a virtual platform and within a physical space, it seeks to discover what kind of engagements these works can demand or generate once they are exhibited in an actual space.